Hello. Let's do a quick mic check. All right, looks like that's working pretty well. Uh, Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. Anyways, um, yeah, I'll be on camera in just a second. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday today. Alrighty. One second. Let's see. Okay. Oh, stupid plugin. There we go. Okay. Hello, hello. All right, so yep, new painting today. I finished the painting I started on Thursday. I finished it. I started this one last night. It's a little, it looks like it's a little too dark. Why is the ISO so low? That's weird. Hold on, okay. ISO is on auto. Well, after I get the palette out, I'll see if I need to adjust because it's looking a little low. And I'm okay with that on camera, but the stream, I can adjust the stream separately. Hold on. What what's up? Hold on a second. Hey Des, when did I start this one? I started this one yesterday, last night. And I've done about 2.5 hours roughly of painting on this one. Yeah. If you want to see the other one I finished, I will share it eventually, but I don't mind giving you a little bit of a preview here. That's how this one came out. It's a little lighter on the bottom than you can see. I don't know, the camera's being a little weird today, but yeah, that's how it came out. Like I said, it's a bit lighter on the bottom. You're not seeing a good representation of it exactly, but other than that, it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. It's got a combination of that finished and unfinished look to it, at least in my opinion. But yeah, uh, videos are uh, going to be coming soon. So that's why this painting, for instance, it's like trying to get it done, started it, finish it, all quick and everything. Yeah. How are you doing, by the way, Des? It's good to see you around. How have you been? I just got to get my brushes. I don't know that I'll even need the large one. But yeah, I've been working hard on stuff. Just a lot going on behind the scenes. Uh, I got to do some some shoots with some models. Most of the photos are blurry. It was very dark and I didn't do a good job with it. That's on me. I'm still learning how to use the camera. It's not this camera, it's a different camera that has some issues. But um, yeah, working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, trying to get things, ready. And hopefully I can, like I said, start putting out some videos. That would be great. Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't want to use stream to, I never want to be the person who uses my stream to like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just dump trauma or like, I don't know. Generally speaking, my stream is dedicated to artwork and painting, and I want it to be a very positive place for creativity and everything. But I'm a bit down today, so I might be a little low energy. We'll see. Hopefully, I get out of it. Streaming always does help with that, though, so that's good. Yeah, um, I so yeah. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, a bit down today. I'll share in Discord later. Not necessary to be on the stream. Nothing, that's like gonna change my life or that I'm gonna be like destitute or nothing like that. So it's nothing major in that sense. Anyways, sorry, that was a lot to just go around. But yeah, might be a little low energy today and just work on this. Have you had your mandatory caffeine allotment for the day? I'm halfway through it. Yeah. How are you doing, Des? All right, so my camera is being very strange today, and I don't entirely understand why. Oh, I understand why. I'm like, what is going on? Settings, like, these aren't the normal. Something's being weird. I figured it out. Okay. I figured it out. All right, I got. Oh wait, actually, what? I'm here. I'll clean it. That's like doing okay. Fighting a headache. Been a busy week. That's fair. This is okay. That'll change that. Alrighty, and then so the ISO's higher. Okay, it's a little better, but I still think it's way too dark. So let me make a quick adjustment here. Is it the color grading that's doing it? No, color grading is helping. Um, that kind of what I want, but not entirely. Is there just a general? That looks pretty good. It might be a little over saturated now. Okay, that's looking better. I think that looks pretty good. There we go. Got my caffeine right here working. Got my caffeine right here working on it. But yeah, my goal with this painting, and it's something I really, really, really have to keep in mind as I work on it. Um, my goal with this painting is to keep even more of the unfinished aspects of the painting and only really bring to completion selective parts. Um, I think I really like that look, and I want to be able to, you know, develop that. And so I need to really focus and like be mindful of that. Because if I slip and I'm not really paying attention, it's very easy to like go into autopilot and just complete it the way I like normally would. And then once you paint over that unfinished aspect of it, the only real way of getting that back is to like paint it, overpaint that again and then paint it back in. It's at that point it's almost not worth it, at least for me in this painting, and I would just start a new painting basically. And it's not going to be perfect. The last painting I did accomplished that, but there's still areas where I wish I'd done things a little differently. And granted, it's technically still wet. I could try and rework it, but I'd rather just take the learning experience and roll it into the next painting and just keep doing that. So yeah. No, with a few exceptions, I think that's actually a really good way of like approaching painting and like learning from painting. Oh, and if I didn't say this, Des, I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you're fighting a headache. I hope it, goes away and you feel better soon. Just realize something. Sorry, I'm making adjustments on the fly, but I'm learning stuff about my camera and photography, and I'm getting a little better, hopefully, at controlling it. So, yeah. This is a side thing, but I'm a bit bummed out about my other camera. My uncle sent me a camera, which is super cool of him. But the motor and the lens that he sent me broke on like my second time taking it out to photograph things. Luckily, it's not, at least at the moment, it's the motor for the stabilization. So technically, it still works, at least for now. But yeah, it kind of sucks. Also, I took it to a camera shop and they basically said it's not even worth fixing because it's so old that they would just buy a you know, it's better to just buy a used one. Did not mean to do that. Stop, that's the wrong dial. Hey, Donley. Donley says rude, they should have bought it from you anyhow. I wasn't trying to sell it. I just want it to work. Um, you know. Okay, I think this is looking okay color-wise. Um, yeah, no, the my uncle gave me the camera. I didn't want to sell it. I want to use it, but the motor broke. It still works for now, but it's unclear if that will continue. And it also slows everything down because now when I go to take a photo, the lens first like flickers like crazy all over the place and then settles. So yeah. Oh, Donley says, and of course by bot I meant fix. Yes, thank you, Donley. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. How are you doing, Donley? Donley, for those who don't know, is a streamer on Twitch, and everyone who's on Twitch at the moment on my stream knows him. But anyone who's watching on YouTube now or in the future can see his name in the chat, and that is his name on Twitch as well. So just copy paste it into Twitch and you can follow him and watch his streams. Donley says, LOL, doing okay, thanks. Good, glad to hear that. Des says she thinks her headache might be med related. Her new doctor didn't call in a prescription after she asked twice, and they aren't open till tomorrow. So you had to cut my seizure meds to half dose to get through the weekend. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Des. That's really messed up. I hate when dealing with stuff like that. It's so frustrating. Yeah. I don't have those types of meds, but I have other meds and I've had stuff like that happen before with doctors, and it's very frustrating. It's infuriating, actually. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Yeah. Donley says hi. I think she was on your YouTube last time I was on your Twitch. You know, Des is really sweet, and she usually opens up both, which is very sweet of her, and I appreciate that very much. All right, let's see here. Um, gonna start. So she might be on both now, but she's not always active in both chats. She just has them both open, and not every time, but you know, I do appreciate it. It's very kind of her. Help me out with the uh, metrics and stuff. And I do appreciate it, Des, but also, you know, if you're not feeling well, don't feel obligated. As much as I do appreciate you and your support, you know, your health is more important. But, you know, if if you want to be around, I always appreciate it. Donnelly says the painting is looking cool. I dig the bright blue mixed with darker tones. Thanks. Yeah, this isn't following my normal, like, super compressed stuff that I was doing for a while. It's clearly got a lot more contrast in it. Um, I think part of the reason for that is I'm focused on a different aspect of the paintings right now, and so I'm not trying to control the contrast and the compression as much because I'm focused on this other area. Eventually, you know, I'll kind of mix them all together, mix and match to make it what I want, however I want, you know, depending on the painting. But yeah, I'm focused. I want to really keep this unfinished look that this has. I really like that. I really like that, like, emerging from the canvas feeling that my paintings have been having lately, and I want to push that even further. Um, and part of that is the unfinished nature of some of the background stuff and the character too. The combination, and it's definitely a challenge to get the balance right. And of course, it's also subjective, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Um, the painting, were you here you were here on Thursday, weren't you, Donnelly? Because the painting I did on Thursday, I finished. I can show you uh, show it to you sort of here. So yeah, finish this one up. And I really like the combination of finished and unfinished in this one. However, there are elements that I wish I'd handled a little different as far as like how much of the unfinished to finish there are and stuff. But, it's trying to find that balance. It's very, I don't want to just say challenging because it's more an issue of like experimenting and finding it, and it's going to change over time depending on the painting. There's no like set amount that it has to be. So, yeah. Only says, apparently I missed Thursday. I would have remembered that. I like where you're going with it. Oh, and that one's done. I started it on Thursday and I finished it off stream. But there will be a video about it because I recorded it. And I'll be recording this one as well. And like I know I've been talking about putting out videos for forever, but they're imminent. Like I don't want to say this week because this week is Thanksgiving and it's crazy. It's a crazy week and I had some other stuff. But, you know, before the end of the year, for sure, without a doubt. All right. Let's see here. DaVinci Resolve is on sale for the first time in forever. And I'm really tempted to buy the studio version, but it's still like 230 bucks. But yeah, if anyone's into video editing, just so you know, or wants to get into it, DaVinci Resolve on sale for the first time pretty much ever. A lot of bucks. Yeah, it's like I don't know if I said it, but it's like $230, so it's not cheap. And you can use the software without the upgrades, but the upgrades obviously has some upgrades to it, you know. I mean, otherwise no one would pay for it. But yeah, you can use it for free, and you can get most of the stuff in it is free. So I don't know. You download the free version but haven't done anything with it yet. Yeah, it's very capable. One of the things I want the studio version for though is the it has a voice isolation feature. Uh, so you can get rid of background noise when you're like on audio recordings. And you can get rid of background noise as it is, but this is like an advanced version that does a much better job and a much easier. At least that's what they keep promoting it as. Never really tried it. I might, I might, you know, do the 15-day trial or something like that. Actually, I don't think you can try it. I think you have to buy it and then refund it. I might do that to see how good it is, but like not exactly swimming in it, the cash at the moment. So, you know, not sure about that. But otherwise, the program is really great. Um, it's got, I I don't know how to compare it to Adobe Premiere. Um, I think easier than what is the one from oh my God. Trying to remember the name. Um, the Apple one, I can't remember. I think it's probably more difficult than the Apple one to use, but um, the built-in software that Apple has. But I don't have a Mac, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a big learning curve. Um, it's frustrating because there are some things like I've used CapCut, and CapCut does such a good job of making a lot of things very easy. Um, the problem is you hit a wall real quick with like a lot of things in CapCut. But the things that it makes easy, I feel like it's like you don't need to make those things difficult like they are in pro editing software. I feel like they could just incorporate that stuff into pro editing software like DaVinci without compromising it in any way or making it less professional. I don't know, it's very frustrating. I wish they would. And I do feel like they're actually working on that a little because DaVinci just what's it called? They added some transitions for free, even in the free version. So better transitions and stuff like that, which is cool. The I don't know, what's it called? Adobe has some new AI features that do a bunch of stuff like the voice isolation and all that, but it's all done through their like online AI system, and you have to use credits for that and all that nonsense. And whereas DaVinci, you just buy it one time and it works for supposedly forever until they decide to change their business model. But the way that Adobe is doing it, I hate. So, and yeah, I'm still paying for Photoshop, and I hate that too. I know there's Photoshop competitors out there. It's just for, well, first of all, I prepaid for the year, so my subscription ends next year, and I have to decide if I want to keep the subscription or not. I'm really on the fence about it. I hate what Adobe is doing, but when it comes to photo editing, um, the the other programs out there, like some of them are decent, and but for like when I get photo editing jobs, it just I don't know that they compare. Although I know a lot of the programs are all going to go on sale right now, so it's like now's the time to buy, theoretically. So in case anyone's wondering, I'm leaning over to deal with my computer all the time because I have my reference up on my computer, and I also have my painting, a photo of my painting on my computer. I flick back and forth between them to see, to help me see where I need to do things. Donley says, yeah, Clip Studio Paint was on sale. I'll check, might still be on sale. I'm not going to buy Clip Studio Paint, but thank you. I don't need it at the moment. If I do need it, I'll buy it when it's not on sale. But yeah, I don't need it right now. Oh, I mean, you're welcome to share in the chat, like still on sale till the 25th. That's cool. I think Affinity is on sale right now, but I would be hesitant to purchase Affinity at the moment. I know they're taking advantage of like all this stuff happening with Adobe, and we're kicking them when they were down, which I think is hilarious. But I am nervous about buying Affinity at the moment because Affinity was purchased by Canva, and Canva is subscription based. And my suspicion is that Affinity is going to end up going subscription based, just probably for less than Adobe. That's my theory. I have nothing to back that up other than they were purchased by Canva. And then Dunley says it may go subscription based, but if you buy the version now, at least you'll have a decent program that you won't have to do any subscription for. Yeah, but they won't update it. They won't update it and they won't support it, is what will happen. And so it'll still be usable and workable until it isn't, right? And there's always like all these updates and stuff that are very useful or needed, you know. Um, Even something as simple as like, you know, when new cameras come out, they come out with new raw file uh, formats or raw file codecs. Um, you won't be able to open those if you come across them if they don't update it. Which for a lot of people isn't an issue at all. Um, but for some people it will be. Conley says though Krita is still pretty great. Is great. Krita is fantastic. It all depends on your needs. If you need a art program, um, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money for a good art program. Um, Affinity Designer is really good for vector depending on what your needs are. Because like I've heard people who use Illustrator say that there are some key features that Designer doesn't have that Illustrator does have, but like most people are never going to use those features. So if you're never going to use those features, what does it matter? But for some professionals in some jobs, it will be literally crucial. And when I, and for me, it's more about when I do photo retouching that I'm concerned about, honestly. But yeah, if I was doing artwork, like it just, honestly, between like Krita, it depends on the artwork you're doing, right? Krita is great for a lot of art. I would say if you're going to be doing a comic book, like traditional looking comic book, I would go with Clip Studio Paint. Um, Clip Studio Paint is pretty awesome for a lot of things, honestly. It's a really good program. Um, but it is subscription based. Um, I just bought Rebel. It was on sale for 10 or $15. If you want traditional looking stuff, that's really good for the price. Um, a lot of people like to use their iPads for illustration, and that, the iPad's expensive, but the programs on it aren't. And if you have a good Android tablet with a pen, which some of them are cheap, relatively speaking, uh, you can get um, you can get some decent programs on Android as well. So I know Krita runs on Android, and I know Clip Studio Paint runs on Android. I don't know what other good programs there are at the moment for Android, I'll be honest. Well, I know Art Rage, but I don't know that I'd call that a good program. Yeah. The perpetual license for Clip is $21. That can't be right. Even it actually, you know what? That maybe it's on sale for 21, but you have to be very careful about their perpetual license because they've really been pushing people to their subscription. So really they've been really hamstringing their perpetual license significantly. So anyone who's going to buy their perpetual license, say be very cautious and really read the fine um, you know script. Yeah. And $9 to update your perpetual license to the newest version. No, that's good. I mean, it sounds good. I'm nervous about it because like I said, I know they've been doing shenanigans. It's like you buy the perpetual license, but then you never get any updates at all for any operating system or anything, I think. So yeah, I don't know. Just read the fine print. That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, aside from Photoshop, I think, and Krita, I think Clip is one of the best um, drawing art programs out there. But there's, of course, on the iPad, what's it called? Procreate. That's pretty good too. Although I know a lot of people do professional work on Procreate, but I don't really consider it a very professional program, even though you can do fantastic work on it. Dunley says, I got the trial, but couldn't get the hang of it quick enough before the trial version was up. Of what? Trial of, there's a few, we've been talking about a few things, so I don't, are you talking about Clip Studio? Clip Studio, okay, Clip Studio. Yeah, yeah, it's tough getting, getting past the learning curve in time. It can be a challenge. It's funny because I used to use it all the time, and now I can't. I had it a long time ago when before they had the subscription at all. Now I don't. I don't think I even have it installed anymore because I got a new computer and everything. So yeah. At the time, Dunley says at the time I was very used to Photoshop, and it just didn't convert to my brain. If I were serious about it, I should have spent more time with it. But at the time, I was still on the fence about switching. Yeah, I'll be honest, like it has some cool features. It probably has some more cool features than I am aware because they probably updated it. And also, the everyone finds different features, you know, interesting in different ways. However, I can tell you what, in my opinion, were like the best features about it. And you can see in your opinion, how useful that is, you know, um, if you're interested. But to me, um, the best features about it were, um, let's see, um, trying to think. So it had does it says I have to run to Walmart, so I'll be gone for a while. Okay, Des, no worries. See you later. Hope you feel better. Um, let's see. Features that I appreciated. Huh. Okay. My chat disconnected and reconnected. Interesting. Um, and that happened again. Is my something going on with my connection? Hold on a second. Let me check something. Uh, okay, everything seems okay for now. All right. Connection seems good here, I think. Thanks, Donley. I appreciate that. Um, yeah. So let's see. For me, the most important features that I really liked about Clip Studio Paint were, no, it's all good, Donley. It looks like it's fine. Seems to be okay. It actually was the chat, the YouTube chat for some reason. And it's just the chat. It's not the connection. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But it had rulers that were very comfortable to use. So like you could, if you wanted to do a 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, even 4 and 5 point perspective, I think they had really good rulers that made everything very easy. A lot of programs have caught up to that though. At the time, they were the only ones, but like I said, a lot of programs have caught up to them on that. They have really good like stabilization for brushwork, for like inking stuff, but once again, a lot of programs have caught up to them on that aspect as well. One of the really good things that they have, and some other programs have caught up, but not all, is they have the ability to do reference layers. So when you're doing comic book coloring, a lot of people, when they do comic book coloring, what they do is they'll color flats on one layer, and then they use another layer to do the adjustments and the actual coloring. The flats is just like a way of selecting things. And so what you do is you can select, let's say, when you're making your flats, you can select the ink layer as your reference layer, but you can work on the flats layer. And then when you're working on the flats layer, when you're working on the color layer, you can select the flats layer as your reference layer. So when you make automatic selections, it's using those layers for reference, which can be super useful. Because if you've ever tried coloring anything, like if you ever tried comic book coloring in Photoshop, and you've colored on the wrong layer because you went to that layer to select something, and then you tried to click back and either forgot or accidentally didn't click correct or whatever, yeah, that kind of eliminates that. Let's see. Donnelly says Krita has good rules for that though, I think. Maybe Procreate rulers are better. Procreate rulers aren't better, but they're not horrible. Procreate doesn't have the best rulers, but it does have them at least. So they do function. They're not the best, but yeah. And then another thing that I don't know if anyone has caught up to Clip Paint yet about is their inking and their vector inking. To be clear, even though it says vector, my understanding is you cannot export it as a vector file, which is unbelievably stupid and frustrating. However, even though you can't export it as a vector file, it still has some benefits being a vector file. So the benefits are, there's also some negatives though. The benefits are that when you draw a line, you can adjust it after the fact. So if you draw a line and you want to like, adjust it a bit, you can grab the points and move them to adjust it. You can also smooth the line out afterwards, which is nice. But the big thing that is very useful is this. I might have to demonstrate with my hands for a second. So, and what's nice is it works across multiple layers. So it's very convenient. Let's say you are shading something, right? Let's say for for simplicity's sake, let's say you draw a ball, you draw a ball and you want to use cross-hatching to shade it, right? In most programs, you have to you either have to be precise and make sure that all your cross hatches start at the line of the ball, or you have to make a selection so that your lines the crosshatch lines don't go outside of the ball, assuming you don't want them outside the ball. Here, what it can do is really cool, is you can do the cross hatching across the line. So you start outside and finish inside. And then you can take the special vector eraser and you can erase all the lines and it erases up to the vector line of the ball automatically. And like I said, you can put them on separate layers and it still works. And that is super, super useful. Just so useful for certain things. Very, very helpful. But vector lines do have some oddities to them, like sometimes that they end weird or start weird, or when you cut them, they can be too abrupt. Like vector lines are vector lines. They're not perfect. But yeah. And I don't understand why you can't export it as vector. Maybe they've changed that. As far as I know, they haven't. If they would change that, that would be a huge deal, in my opinion, because at least for professionals who, if they want to blow things up huge, for conventions or advertisement or whatever, yeah, having or even exporting it into something like Designer or Illustrator, so to finish it, to color it, and so on. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. So that was a very useful feature, though. Um, and I don't know of any program that can do that, with the exception of Toon Boom. Well, Storyboard Pro can do that, but you're not going to do finished artwork in Storyboard Pro. So other than Storyboard Pro, I don't know any other program that can do that. But yeah, I think those were the main features that were like the most important. They have other features, like they have the 3D models. I never found the 3D models, that they have to be all that useful. Some people might, I never did. Um, they have the comic book feature where like you can collect, on the EX version, you can make the comic book as like one file. Once again, I don't think that's super helpful. It has the comic book, um, what's it called? Um, Panels. Like it's helpful. If you're doing a comic book, all those like time saving features are great, and I would say they're fantastic. and very, very useful. But if you're not doing a comic book, then they're, they lose a ton of relevancy. And even if you are doing a comic book, if you're not doing it by yourself, it still loses a ton of relevancy. Like if you're working for a publishing place, then it won't matter either. But still, it's probably the best software for comic book work. If you're doing comic book work, it's probably hands down the best. If you're doing illustration, it kind of depends on what type of illustration you're doing, um, whether or not I'd recommend it. How is Krita's storyboard workspace? No idea. I haven't really used it, honestly. Um, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I know, not the best answer, but I haven't had a chance to play with it. From what I've seen, it's very much a animation, like from what I've seen, it looks like it's designed for frame by frame animation. Um, I don't know how good it is. I don't really animate. I do like animatics at the most. Um, I would, yeah, I'd have to see how easy it is to use and how easy it is to onion skinning, stuff like that. I will say Photoshop's animation features suck. Oh my God, they're horrible. Um, let's see, Dunley says they have a separate setup for animation. Not sure how they compare. Yeah, I don't know. Photoshop's is horrendous. The way that Photoshop does it is just awful because what Photoshop does, and also Clip Paint Studio does this too, and I think it's horrible as well. By the way, Clip Paint Studio's animation, features they function. I know they work. Photoshop's does too, technically, but the big problem that 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 you run into with them, and I think Procreate does it the same way. Is what they do is um, they essentially use folders as like a way of making your frames. So it really messes with your file structure inside and creates huge files if you make it very large because um, it's essentially like a new layer folder every time you want a new frame. So it gets quite large quite fast. Um, so for very short animations, it's fine, but when you start getting into bigger stuff, it becomes problematic. Toon Boom Storyboard Pro works totally different. So the way the internal systems work, yeah, it's very, very different. Don't get me wrong, you get huge files there too, but it's yeah, just it functions completely different. But you know, that's not to say that you can't do that stuff in those programs. You can. And the demands, it's just the demands that you might have. Also, what you're doing. When I do storyboards, I can be working on a 5 minute, you know, scene, and that can be, or 2 minute scene or whatever, you know. those scenes can be large and like, um, like hundreds of drawings, like depending, so it just depends. When I did a what was it? When I did an action sequence on what was it? Say Semanos, I did an action sequence there, and that was like because it was like martial arts hand-to-hand combat. Um, that it was like it was insane. It would be like some of them, not all, but there's like one scene that I did that was like I don't even remember how many frames it was in just like a tiny, tiny amount of time. It was absolutely nuts. So yeah, it just depends. But that's not everything or most sequences really. But yeah, I know some studios they've used Clip Paint Studio for like final revisions on artwork on animation using their animation system. So it can be done. I'm pretty sure I've seen some people online do some pretty professional stuff in Krita as well, as far as animation goes. And then, of course, there's the other big competitor for that, which is oh, what is it? Well, there's okay, real competitors, there's TV Paint, but sort of not real competitor, but still kind of is what is it? A Blender. Blender keeps coming out with things and it looks so promising, and I just don't know if they'll ever get over that hump into like pro work, you know, like studio uh environments. I don't know. But if they could develop their grease pencil and animation stuff, they could to a certain they just need to get it. I don't know. I don't know what they need to do to it. They need to make it easier to work with. I know that. That's a big part. But other than that, I'm not entirely sure because I haven't used it myself. I've been tempted to try it, but the learning curve is so steep on that. He says, what's your current focus with your painting? You mentioned at the moment you're not focused on compressed values. No, I'm not as focused on compressed values. Right now, um, I'm trying to enhance and hold on to um, that feeling that that I've been able to get on some of my paintings lately, where it's like the painting kind of feels like it's forming out of the canvas almost in a way, like it's that um, unfinished aspect of things that like makes it feel like it's kind of just coming together. And part of it is that it's like I don't know, it's a combination of different aspects of painting that are creating that sensation. I'm trying to kind of hold on to that and add to that. So it's a combination of loose and detail work, and also the values have to, you know, they do have to like be close in some areas, and also um, a lot of soft edges, but not just soft edges because it's very brushy. And of course, if you want to see brush marks, you know, it can't be soft. So yeah, it's a combination of things. There's definitely an aspect to it that's harder to achieve when the contrast is too high, which I'm getting close to in this painting, where like some of the things are, and then it's not specifically her, it's her in the background, like the fact that she is so much darker than the background is negatively affecting that effect a little, but I'm hoping I can compensate for that. So we'll see. AFK, be right back. Okay. And the brush I'm using right now is a soft brush, which um, does tend to blend things a bit and make softer marks. Like you don't see a lot of the like harsh bristles, which is A, what I want, but B, it's also um, a bit splayed and you know, seen better days. Um, but I'm also trying to use that to my advantage to A, keep me from tightening up too much, and B, um, it helps soften a lot of edges everywhere, which I'm trying to hold on to that as well, where I want it. There are definitely going to be some places that I'll tighten it up, and this does have a little bit of a sharp edge, so it's kind of a combination of like a sharp edge in some areas and a bit of a mess in others. But yeah, there's definitely like a softness I'm trying to achieve. And I will say flats might not be the best brush type for this. However, I do really like working with flats overall, so I will definitely try and make it work. I know some people, to soften up stuff, they'll take like a big mop brush and just run that over everything. Uh, that is something I don't know, maybe I'll do that one day, but at the moment, I like doing things the hard way and getting that softness by uh, controlling my edges and really controlling my values and my color. You control your values and your color enough, you can literally paint with like the sharpest edge and it won't make a difference, at least not from a distance. Up close, you might see it, but not at a distance. And honestly, I think that's really fun when painting has like the nuance to be, one thing at a few steps away and something else when you're like right up on it. But yeah, that's, not everybody likes that. Let's quick stretch break. Yeah. Oh, good news. The cat's fine. Fine. We did um the tests and she's fine. So we're slowly working on introducing her back into the house. Donnelly says, "Woo, not sick cat." Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good. Okay, I need to run out and get a few things before movie night. No worries. Your paint is looking awesome. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Depending on schedules, maybe I'll be able to join you for movie night tonight after my stream. We'll see. I have to be a little slow with these paintings because the like trying not to overwork them is very much a thing of like perspective, right? Technically, the painting could be done right now. I could say, that's it, it's done, and it's not, but there's nothing that says it's not, other than me. So it's that I have to constantly like try and step back and make sure it, basically make sure it's um I don't overwork it. Yeah. There's definitely things here that need to be worked on. This eye, the shadow in that eye, too dark overall. But I already know some of where that's going. The highlight on the brow might be too light. Definitely too light. A lot of times when you're trying to go fast with paintings, slowing down actually makes you go faster. Very counterintuitive. I don't know if it's that my white has started to set already super fast, or if it's just that that white is very thick in comparison to my other paint, but it feels so stiff and sticky. I don't like it. Yeah, this brush definitely much more coarse, although I don't think it started that way. I'm pretty sure this brush used to be a very soft brush that has gotten a little more coarse over use. So switch back to my softer brush. have to tone this down a bit. That area is going to need some more work, but we'll build it slowly. Oh, how you do it. All right, before I continue here, there's a few spots that I know I need to really fix mild things. So let's go in and get that. These are areas in the painting that I absolutely love because you get to go in and mess with these really, really subtle, delicate transitions between, like, it's shadow and then shadow next to shadow. So you have to be very, very gentle with everything and subtle. I really enjoy those areas. To be honest, though, I don't think it's necessarily always the most important areas, and I definitely don't think it's something that like everyone notices. Some people will, but some people won't. Or maybe the majority of people won't. But it's still some of the areas I enjoy most. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. There's a few paintings I did where like there were areas where in my mind I was like showing off a little. I was like, oh yeah, this is like I was trying to be like, look how, I don't know if showing off is really the right word, but it was like these moments where I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna take forever just to get this one little thing. And like no one's gonna notice it. Other painters, I think, though, might. Like, I feel like that's the type of thing that a lot of times painters do, and, or artists, whatever field they're in. And it's like, yeah, other artists end up being the only ones who see it or appreciate it. Nothing wrong with that, though. I went to, what was it? I went to look at uh, artwork here in Austin for the studio tour, and there was some artwork that this one artist made, and I even, because I'm not familiar with like how the artwork is constructed. No, I take that back. I was getting my stories mixed up. There's one artist that did watercolor paintings, but it was so deceptive because if you didn't know, first of all, if you didn't know they were watercolor, you might think they were acrylics or gouache or something else because they didn't really look like watercolors. And if you know watercolors, you know how like unbelievably difficult that can be. None of the traditional like watercolor um, looks, were apparent. So it was just so controlled. And I was just like, oh man, if you don't know how hard this is, you have no idea how hard this painting would be to do. But I'm looking at it and I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's, or I don't know if it was a guy, I think so, but it's just like phenomenal. I do think that is one thing that almost never comes up with oil painting, though, simply because I don't know that I don't know of any technique. Well, I can't think of it at least. Like oil painting is very straightforward for the most part, and I don't want to say it's easy, but there's no like I can't think of any technique where it would be like, that would be so hard in oils to do necessarily. I'm sure there's something, but that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But I think watercolor is pretty obvious in that sense. I keep hitting thing I don't want to touch. So this brush is really good, very sharp. I really like it, but the bristles are either too thick or too stiff or both. And so sometimes when I want something softer, I have to use obviously a different brush. I have other brushes that are that size and softer, but trying not to get any more brushes dirty until I clean the ones that I am using to make space. And I hate cleaning my brushes, so I don't clean them as often as I should. That reminds me. Okay, try and file that for in my brain for later. First time chatter princess. Hey, how long have you been doing art? I've been doing art for a very long time. I don't, yeah, long time. But I haven't always been oil painting, and I moved into, across different fields, which I'm happy to get into. I'm just saying. So it's not like I've been painting for 20 years, oil painting. Um, but yeah, and also welcome. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a great weekend. Uh, I I'm guessing you're an artist, but if you're not, that's cool too. It's just sounded like an art question, and artists come in here a lot. But yeah, I started. I went to school for um, like general illustration, I would say. Um, yeah, Princess Oxus. Yeah, I browse art streams when I do art. Yeah, absolutely. I've had art streams on and painted while, listening and stuff like that before. But yeah, I went to school a long time ago for I'd say like general illustration. It was kind of like an atelier type of place, sort of. Loose atelier, we'll put it that way. Um, but I never did oil painting when I was there. I was always afraid of it, which is unfortunate. But I was more focused on comic books at the time. I wanted to be a comic book artist. So very, very different interest at the time. I did practice some acrylic painting there, but never really too serious about acrylic painting. What type of artwork do you like to do? And also, if you need to be AFK because you want to work on your artwork, that is understandable. Um, I would encourage you to join the Discord before you go. The command for Discord does not work, by the way. Don't even try it, don't work. But there is a link. Um, there is a link in the description or wherever. Princess Talk says, I do stereotypical digital anime art. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I went all digital for years, although I never did anime necessarily, uh, like a comic book, but not anime. But yeah, I went all digital for a long time, and then um, at a certain point, I wanted to do more personal work, and also work that didn't feel artwork that didn't feel like work, because I also work as a retoucher and storyboard artist and all that's digital. So I wanted something different. And that's when I got back into traditional artwork. Yeah. Do you miss the Control Z ability? I mean, I'd be occasionally, but overall, not much. I will tell you that if if I have to pick between them, I would definitely pick painting over digital paint. Like I'd pick oil painting over digital any day. It's so much better. I enjoy it so much more. I'm not saying what comes out. Like I'm not, this isn't a, like a traditional versus digital type of thing. I'm talking about the experience. So much, prefer it so much more. Like it's not even close. Why? Um, I mean, there's so many reasons, honestly. I don't miss the Control Z much. I'm not going to say never, but I don't miss it much because, first of all, oil painting is extremely forgiving. Um, if I need to, I can, I can get rid of whatever I make and fix it anytime. It's not really a problem. Um, as good as digital tools are, there is a nuance and a control that you get with traditional tools that digital still cannot achieve. Um, and what I mean by that is like how you're able to control the brush, the paint, like there's a nuance that you just cannot achieve really with digital tools. Um, Also, I do think that we are tactile people in general. Like we're designed to live in the, we'll call it the real world versus digital world, where, we we've evolved. And so I think tactile stuff is very important to us. And so I think I enjoy painting with tactile things more than digital things for that reason too. Um, and all of the well, not all, but a lot of the like mess ups or mistakes are things that I like to have in my art. I want to have more randomness, more happy accidents. I like that. I don't want it to be, you know, perfect. I want some of that. You know, a lot of times the things that we think are mistakes are like end up being sometimes it's people's favorite like aspect to our work and we think it's a mistake. So, yeah, not always. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every mistake is meant to be, but yep. Yeah, that's overall I think why I prefer it. And like I said, I don't feel restrained by the like lack of Control Z. If I needed to redo something, I just scrape it off or paint over it. It's never a problem. Um, it's more time, it's more work, which is annoying, but that's all it is. Don't get me wrong, digital has a ton of advantages. I'm not disregarding all the advantages. The ability on digital to start a sketch, like if I wanted to work on something like this digitally, I could start a sketch and then I could go from a sketch to a painting, and then I could decide that I want to make it larger and that I want to recrop things, and you can do stuff like that that you can never do traditionally. But sometimes that's a good thing that you can't do it, right? Sometimes the constraints are what force us to do things, differently or take more time and plan things. Having good photo reference for like my paintings are from photos. Having good photo reference is super important. So now I take more time to focus on my photo reference. Planning those things out is super important. It, and so it's not the painting process itself, but a lot of the setup to the painting process sometimes is almost more important than the process itself. Like at I can make two paintings, and if I set myself up really well with one, it'll be a fantastic painting, and the other one I don't, it won't be a fantastic painting. So taking that time is really important. But you know, I don't know about you, but I know I didn't always do that, and I still don't always do that, but I'm more likely to do that now. So yeah, but yeah, honestly, it's just a feeling thing more than anything. Um, I tried to paint digitally when I was on vacation, visiting family a year ago, a year ago, I think it was, and it just really was. I was struggling with it, finding it very frustrating. So now when I do digital stuff, I mostly just do um, like sketches and like I do like toned kind of sketches if I want it to be something with color, but it's never like I don't do like an oil painting or an illustration um, unless I'm doing it for work. If it's for a job, I'll do it, but otherwise, it's just not fun and I don't enjoy it, so I just don't bother. Do you do any traditional mediums or are you all digital? And this isn't a judgment thing, I'm just asking. All digital, it's cheaper. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I've heard that. I I've pushed back on that in the past because it depends. Computers, aren't cheap, but a lot of people already have computers, so kind of there's a lot of variations to that. I do think that sometimes people think traditional is more expensive than it actually is. Um, just like I thought oil paints were more, like I was more afraid of them. I thought they were dangerous. I mean, don't get me wrong, they are dangerous, but they're not we'll say it that way, as dangerous as I thought, or as dangerous and as, you know, prevalent or whatever. I don't know. Just and the gloves, by the way, I have cats. I like to have clean hands at any time. I'm not so worried about the paint on my hands as I am about getting it on my cats. Uh, uh, Princess Ox says, well, I use the same tablet, which was about $50 for the last 10-ish years. So for me, it's definitely less expensive. Oh, for sure. That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. Overall, I would say generally, yes, it's less expensive. Also, like, I think it just the reason I push back on it a little with some people, I'm not saying you specifically, but is because when you start getting into like the professional level and you're buying like some people buy the like $3,500 Cintiq and they buy the $3,000 MacBook, and it's like, okay, when you can see how this is all kind of adding up a lot, um, and then if you need the what's it called, the color accurate monitor, because like all that professional gear gets real pricey. But yeah, if you're not doing that, it's not. I agree. Princess Ox says, I think a big point for digital is the tools don't have to be high end to do good art. Yeah, you don't need you don't need high end tools to do good art in anything, honestly. There's some artists that do, there's an artist, there are artists who have had, foreign who had museum shows or gallery shows with ballpoint pen work. So it just depends. Yeah. Well, consider watercolor. You need decent watercolor paper if you want a finer result. Sure, you do. Yes, in certain areas, I agree. You are right. I just don't want anybody to think that they need the finest materials to do good artwork overall. But yes, if you want certain results, you need certain materials sometimes. That is true. And digital is once you buy it, once you have it, it's all you need. I agree. The good thing is it doesn't have to be one or the other necessarily. I know a lot of artists who do both. So, and both benefit each, you know, their traditional artwork benefits their digital and their digital benefits their traditional. So, so yeah. Princess Ox says, yeah, I think digital is really big because it's ease of access. Uh, for comms is good versus having to ship physical pieces. For sure. For sure. Digital also is really good for production work because when you want to make changes, it's so much easier and quicker to make changes on a finished piece or a nearly finished piece. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I will never deny the advantages of digital over traditional. There are definitely areas where it's has a ton of advantages. And of course, when you get into like production work too, then you get into potential photo bashing stuff and all that as well. What are my thoughts on AI art? They're not positive, I'll tell you that much. Uh, I'm a supporter of uh, Carla Ortiz and what's his name? I can't remember his name right now. Basically, I'm not for it. I think I think that technology, like the underlying technology has potential to be like really useful in certain ways when designed properly as tools. Um, but it's I'm not a fan of it, and I think overall it's like very problematic in so many ways, and also basically theft. Yeah. The tech is impressive, but the purpose is misused. Yeah, I agree. Even I think though that even some of the, depending on how it's implemented, it's very impressive. And other times it's more of a magic trick, right? Like it looks impressive and people are like, "Oh my God, it made this artwork." But I'm like, "Yeah, that's because an artist made an artwork that looked just like that." And it just like mixed it with what you said, but it's, you could essentially photo bash something kind of similar, with it's just really fast. So yeah, it's really fast, but the impressive part isn't the speed, it's the artwork, and that came from an artist. So I wish the artist would get the like oohs and ahs and dollars versus the tech companies. But having said that, in certain scenarios, when implemented in certain ways, it could be great. It's just they don't they don't have the intention of doing that. They don't want that. They because they want to just replace people so that they can save money and make money, unfortunately. Did you hear about the guy who submitted an AI piece and is trying to get it copyrighted on it because he doesn't want other people stealing it? LOL. Yes. Yeah, the people who use this stuff and champion it are often very silly. It's like, oh, it's democratizing art. Don't steal my art. It's like, well, you're stealing other people's art. It's not stealing, it's learning. Like, okay, sure, buddy. But yeah, that part's unfortunate. So yeah, that is the unfortunate part of the technology, and there's a lot of unfortunate parts to this technology. Because of how it's implemented and how it was um, distributed, um, with zero care for people. Um, yeah. And to be clear, and I'm sure you already know this, but in case someone doesn't, the whole thing where they are trying to like scare people and be like, oh, it's the what's it called? You know, we're scared of AI because of the potential for like general intelligence. Yeah, that's not happening anytime soon. They are they are nowhere near, general artificial intelligence. They don't even have a clue on how to make that. Like that's not on the horizon. It's all marketing terms. There's no intelligence here. It's just complicated machine learning and algorithms. All the other stuff is just marketing. But yeah, a lot of the people championing this stuff are very silly people, unfortunately. Fingers crossed some of the big lawsuits that are happening end up really hurting them and stuff. The companies, I mean, and make them like back down a bit. I don't know. It's not going to disappear. Like it's not like this technology is here to stay, but how it's being used will, I think it's the hype. I do think it will reduce in a lot of ways because most of the time it's not even useful. Princess Ox says it's interesting to see people trace AI art and look at their past work. And the difference is like, wow, in 2 days you just improved 100 fold. Oh, I see people who are like passing it off as their own artwork. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing, right? I I don't understand anyone who would use AI to make artwork and pass it off as their own artwork. That I find that absolutely baffling. Um, you know, so it's very hard for me to understand that. I can't I literally I can't. I don't I just don't understand that at all because I I want to make my artwork, right? Like the important part to me is making the artwork. Um, the process of making it is just as important as the final result. And so, when I was in art school, to give an example, when I was in art school, my teacher was, teaching me and helping me with a piece of artwork. And he ended up doing so much work on that artwork that I asked him I told him, and I didn't mean this as a smart ass remark. It was like, I love this teacher's artwork. I think I liked him as a person. I asked him to finish the painting and sign it for me because there's no way I could claim ownership of this artwork anymore. Anyways, he had done too much on it at that point. I would have felt, um, I would never feel like that piece of artwork was my own. So there was no point in me even finishing it. So I asked him to finish it for me and to sign it as his own or co-sign it or whatever, because like, you know, there's literally no point in me doing it. And that's a piece I actually worked on. Like that's a piece that even though, you know, he did so much on it, I actually started it. I can't imagine using a prompt to do my artwork for me. Like I don't understand it. I could never take credit for something like that. Yeah, I don't get it. Princess Ox says, as a chronically online person, it happens a lot. Yeah, I know it does. I just don't understand it. Like my brain just does not compute, you know. Yeah, that's all it is. My brain is just like, this is pointless. I don't understand why anyone would do this. And although I didn't start streaming uh, you know, because of AI art, I will say, I am happy that people can see me paint my paintings and know I painted my paintings. That is one of the benefits of streaming my artwork live. Princess Sock says people want the clout without the effort. I know you're right, but I still don't understand it because as a person who makes art, like if I could get all the clout in the world, minus money, of course, because money changes things, but all the clout in the world wouldn't be worth not painting or drawing, right? Like I always like that's more important to me. So I don't get it. Yeah. Princess Ock says, people are trying to train AI to do speed paintings. They look so janked up. Yeah. I'm sure they'll keep working on making stuff to try and make it look like, they're going to keep trying to, to make better and better copies and better, like, you know, um, they're going to use videos to make speed paintings, like you said. And, there's some places now that can print they have ways of printing also in 3D, like they're using 3D printers to give things, depth and all that. It's all there, but you know, all of that, it's all going to end up being in the hands of a real artist. All that stuff will be a great tool. In the hands of someone who isn't an artist, it's all going to be fake and attempting to be a copy of someone else. So you might as well just be that someone else that they're trying to copy type of thing. Yeah. But they're going to try, but once again, I'm glad that people can come here and see me do it live and that I have, hundreds of hours, I think now, of me doing this live before all those speed paint fakes exist, and so on. Also, I will say this, and once again, I don't I'm not trying to disparage digital artists, but oh man, when you have a finished when you get a print of your artwork, it feels so good, but when you have a physical painting that you just completed, personally, I like that more. But that's just my experience. And I get it. Not everyone's in the position to do traditional, and maybe you don't even like it. That's fair. But yeah. Hey, Art Techie, welcome. How you doing? Oof. Yeah, I also saw that they're trying to build a robot that can like paint. Like once again, I'm not, that stuff is like, even if they put, even if they create it, it's like, it's not just about being able to manipulate the brush. So yeah, whatever. But having said that, that's when I that's when it comes to making your own artwork. When it comes to like jobs, that's a total different conversation because they'll for jobs, unfortunately, companies will they don't care. They'll go for cheap and however they can. That's a different story. But when it comes to your own personal artwork, when it comes to personal artwork, AI and machine learning, all that stuff is meaningless. Jobs is a different story, unfortunately. Arteki, what have you been up to lately? Anything you feel like sharing? I will say this for Princess Ak. Oh, by the way, for Princess Ak and anybody, if you follow me and I didn't respond like, hey, thanks for the follow, I can't see it. I have two streams going on and all everything. I it was too complicated for me to set it up to get the what's it called? The notifications and everything. So I don't have it. But if anybody does follow, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. You can also follow me on YouTube. And everyone who likes artwork, join the Discord. We can talk art there. I do hop on to live calls sometimes, hangouts, and I also have a feedback section and so on. So, if you feel like it, if you're into Discord, yeah. It's a pretty chill place, bunch of artists, and it's not the most active Discord in the world, so you won't get a ton of spam. Let's see. Samaj Thomas. Lovely to see you work. It's lovely to see the results. I love your portrait work. It always feels so relevant, like photos in oil. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. That means a lot. That's uh, that's a great descriptor. I like that a lot. Like photos, what is it? Like photos in oil? Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. Do you prefer tell me if I'm saying this wrong, Samaj, or do you prefer Thomas? Um, and if I mispronounce it, let me know. Anyone, if I mispronounce your name, let me know. I will do my best to get it right. No promises, but I'll do my best. Princess Hawk asks, "Are you a full-time artist?" Yes, although it's kind of funny because I'm actually in between jobs at the moment. Full-time artist is kind of funny that way. I work as a storyboard artist in TV animation, and I'm between gigs at the moment. The animation industry is having some issues, funny enough, surrounding AI stuff. Yeah, so it's a little, but that's how it is in TV animation a lot of times. You're on I was on a project for like 3 years and then you're off and then you're looking for work and it's just one of those things. Um, but yeah, professional, uh, you know, storyboard artist. I'm trying to turn my oil painting into full time. It just hasn't been my focus for a long time because I was, working full time. So yeah. Samaj, and yes, you pronounced it right. Wondering when you work, do you always prep with a full wash of the canvas? No, not at all. Um, I yeah, I don't prep I don't do that at all. I've been using these lately, and this isn't the only way you can do this, but I've actually been painting on plastic panels, and I sand them, but because they're plastic, I don't have to prep them in any other way. So I just sand them, clean them, and then I just start painting on them. You can watch my live streams if you want to see like the process, but basically I just either sketch out or I either what's it called? I either sketch out or just lay in blocks of color for areas, and then I use a brayer. It's a roller. Something I didn't know what a brayer was, so I'm just showing in case anybody doesn't know. It's a roller thing for printing. Um, I just use that and I roll over everything and mess it all up, and then I go in and correct, clean it up and fix things and move it, and just start building into it, kind of thing. Yeah. And if you want to see, I don't mind showing it. Um, this is a panel prior to painting. The cross is just I put that in. I find it kind of like a grid system, only just just the center lines. But it helps. These are just 9 by 12s. They're small paintings, but this is the back. It's got this texture on it. This is sanded. When it's not sanded, it's this reflective plastic. Now, don't get me wrong. I've worked on other surfaces as well. So I've worked on a ton of surfaces. I like smooth surfaces. So when I do work on something else, I like to use either fluid, or if it's not the fluid, just the regular acrylic matte medium, because I like a really smooth surface to work on. But I'm trying to figure out a system where I can do, because I want to do a lot of these small paintings quickly. So I'm trying to figure out a process of doing that fast, with as little prep as possible, and also a good surface and affordable. Let's see. Princess Hawk asks, is that commission based or hourly? Storyboard artist is usually it's hourly, unless you're a freelancer, in which case it's a project. Like, yeah. And then Samaj asks, is that like painting on ampersand board? I have to wonder if the plastic allows to reflective qualities like the photo. Yes, to the brayer, it just seems to distribute so well. Yes, I agree on the brayer, meaning that the surface of the plastic seems to create more reflective quality to the end result of the painting, sort of like the painting on oil or glass. It's a whole different feel. No. I understand what you're saying. It does not, because you can see once I sand it, it has this like soft kind of look to it. It's not very reflective. I mean, maybe a little, because like you can see, but I think this is less reflective than let me see. Oh, here. This this is something I painted. This is gessoed basically, and this is more reflective, right? So this is a ACM panel that I sanded, and then I didn't gesso this one. I sanded it, and then I put acrylic matte medium on it. You can see the back is still the you know the composite stuff. It's just a sticker that goes on the back to plastic to protect it. So yeah. No, it's very reflective if you want reflective. Here, let me get one. Let me get that for you and show you. Yeah, this by the way, this is ampersand. It's just a gessoed board, So this was ampersand. It's going to be a little out of focus, but yeah. So yeah, I do like ampersand. It's just not economical for me to paint on it all the time at the moment. I do like ampersand a lot. If I didn't have to concern myself with the cost of the materials, I would probably just do that all the time. Or Artifacts. Artifacts has some good materials too. This is a little sample panel that Artifacts sent me. It's a very small, this is a very small panel, but it's got copper. It's a copper plate underneath, and you can see that is so, like, it is very reflective. I will say one of the things that the plastic does help with the reflectiveness is that the plastic isn't absorbent. So any surface that isn't absorbent will make your paints more reflective because they stay shiny. They don't sink as much. So that does apply to the plastic. It also applies to what is that paper? UPO paper, and basically anything that's non-absorbent. If you seal it and it doesn't absorb, that'll give you that look. Sorry. Let's see. Okay, didn't realize it was sanded. Love the result it gives for the textures of the end result. Yeah. Did you find that the plastic base made your work look and feel different to you? Okay, I'll answer that in a second. Those colors on the ampersand board is wild. Your blend is so smooth and brilliant. Ask them for a sponsorship for your work is worth it. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. That small panel is very cool, and yes, love the reflective quality of it. Yeah, yeah. So this was just a sample of a copper sample from Artifacts. I actually bought a panel from them. It's like sitting over there behind me. I'll do a painting on it at some point. I just haven't had the time specifically to work on that. And thank you. I do appreciate that, what you said, the compliments. As far as the feel, the look and the feel, that as far as it being different, every surface feels a little different. So it really depends. You know, yes, it feels different. Do I think that my work looks much different on it? No, but that's because I've been painting on surfaces that are similar enough, because if I've been using golden acrylic medium to on most surfaces, and that's basically a plastic. And I've painted on UPO before, UPO paper, which is a plastic paper. So no, I didn't feel it to be hugely different. However, when I go in the opposite direction and I paint on something that's a lot more absorbent, then I really feel it in the negative, unfortunately. So I've painted on, I bought that Arches paper, which is supposed to be like for oil paint. I hate that stuff. It's awful to work on. Arches paper in general is great, but not for oil painting. Unless you put golden acrylic on it, in which case it's fantastic because it's, thick watercolor paper with, acrylic on it to seal it is fantastic. I like working on that too. Let's see. Do you find that some surfaces, sorry, I misread that. Do you find that some surfaces that bring more joy than others, that the results are of the base changes the mood of how you paint on it? I'm very interested in the process. Absolutely. let's see. Okay, I thought that the oil paper was very odd to work on. It made the work feel very flat or dull, like it took all the oil out of the paint. It does. That's exactly what it does. It takes all the oil out of the paint. It absorbs it all. You need to do, well, you don't need to, but I would need to do multiple layers. Some people like that. You know, whatever. If you like it, you like it. I know one of my favorite painters, Nicholas Uribe, who has a channel, Our Painted Lives on YouTube. I highly recommend it. He hasn't posted lately, but he is starting a Patreon soon. I highly recommend him. Yeah, I recommend him in every aspect. Uh, Nicholas Uribe, Our Painted Lives. Just fantastic. He loves dry paper. He loves working on paper without priming it. He I don't know how he does it. I hate it. I can't stand it. But teach their own, you know. Yeah, he loves working on paper. His favorite, I think, is Moleskin. If I remember correctly, his favorite is Moleskin. But yeah, he for a while he was working on uh, what was it? It was watercolor paper from Michaels. Cheap watercolor paper from Michaels. Oh my God. He does great work. I don't know how he does it. Yeah, I hate it. I hate that stuff, but you know, to each their own. When I first started painting and I painted on very smooth surfaces, I found it difficult because they were so smooth, things would just skate around and I couldn't work on it, you know. But over time, I got more used to it and I got more control and I like it a lot more now. I think a really good starting surface to work on for oil paint is this stuff. Um, it's oil primed linen. Um, they're like sheets, but these aren't paper sheets that look like linen. This is actual fabric here. Um, this used to be one of my favorite surfaces to work on. It no longer is. The issue with like the surfaces and stuff, one of the main issues is often like the you know, prep time and cost per surface and all that stuff is always like a big factor in everything. Um, these plastic panels are not my favorite when I first start working on them. Like when they're dry and I put paint on, they're just a little too grippy. Like they just want to hold the paint and things don't move well enough on it. But as soon as the whole surface is covered and everything's saturated in oil, everything moves a lot better. So I just have to be a little heavy-handed in the beginning to just get all the paint on it. And then I use the brayer and then it's perfect. Yeah. Have you worked in any other mediums? Yes, I have. Like egg tempura, I asked because the way you seem to blend the colors has the aspect to me. The way it's so creamy and smooth. Oh, thank you. I'll address that in a second. And then Samaj says, so the Centurion is actually fabric and not paper. It's linen. Yeah, it's actual linen sheets. Um, you could theoretically stretch it over stretchers. Um, they're kind of small, so it might not be worth it, but it is actual linen. It's not like the Strathmore or, you know, it's not the paper that is, you know, that has a linen texture to it. Um, so yeah, it's a lot better to paint on. Oh, I was about to start painting again, but looks like we have a visitor. Dresden, my cat, one of my cats is here. So I will show him. And as far as other mediums, yeah, I haven't used egg tempera, but I used to use watercolor and I used to use acrylic way back in the day. Um, and then recently, before getting into oils, I tried gouache and I did try acrylics, but it was a disaster. And I used to be all digital before that. I went to art school, did traditional stuff, then I not oils, but traditional stuff. Then I went all digital. Then I got back into traditional stuff, and then got into oil paints. Dresden, oh, baby boy. Oh, this is Dresden. He is named after Harry Dresden, the wizard from the book series, The Dresden Files. I have 3 cats. Hi, little boy. Getting close to dinner time. Yeah. But yeah, the Centurion stuff is pretty good, pretty cost effective. These plastic panels that I'm buying are like there's a lot more work in preparing them, but a lot less work than almost anything else I would. If I had to prepare something, these plastic panels are like the easiest to prepare. And price wise, they are close to the cheapest when you combine everything. But yeah. Uh, Samaj says you have been a brilliant wealth of insight. So happy I caught you live. Yeah, absolutely. I have an orange cat too. He's a wizard too, Mr. Merlin. Oh, that's adorable. Looks like yours. Uh, they are so entertaining, the best. I agree. And I'm glad I could help. And anyone who has questions, art questions, or wants to hang out with artists, if you're into Discord, join the Discord. I'm not the most active there, but I am very responsive. If anybody ever asks me anything, I am responsive. I'm not the most active, but I also post when I go live, and yeah, happy to answer art questions, and other people there have, also have art knowledge, and it doesn't have to be just oil painting. I have a lot of, I have experience with other stuff. Other people do too. There's a bunch of digital artists there as well. So yeah. Tristan. Yeah, it's funny. So we also have a dog, and our dog's name is Wizard. We didn't name him that. We adopted him. He was a rescue, and we adopted him and his name was already Wizard. And we had him first. So we had Harry Dresden, and then we got Wizard. So yeah. Uh, Samaj says responsive is always cool, not active because you're busy creating magic things in art. Yeah, it's a fun Discord. Every once in a while, we also have events. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Portrait Artist of the Year, but we do Portrait Artist of the Year paint along where we pretend we're on the show, and the viewers participate. And no competition, just for the fun of it, but try to do a painting in 4 hours and so on. It's fun. And if you don't know Portrait Artist of the Year, I recommend checking out the show. It's a fun show if you like painting. And you can also share your artwork on the Discord, uh, because links don't work in a lot of like my YouTube my YouTube chat doesn't allow links. So if you want to share your artwork, you can. He is gentle. I know he's biting me and stuff, but he's a very gentle cat. Dresden. I know, I know. It's dinner time. I know, little boy. For a while, he was afraid of the cat in my monitor, which is him, to be clear. It's because he saw himself um, when I picked him up. He saw himself in OBS and was afraid of the cat in the monitor. So for a long time, I had to close OBS every time I showed him on camera. I had to minimize it, I mean. But he forgot about that now, and now he's no longer scared of my monitor. Why do you like to lick my hand so much, little boy? And in case you're wondering, yes, he's been purring this whole time, like literally this whole time. All right, little boy. Okay. Yeah, I know. All right. You know what? I actually think I'm going to be ending stream now. I was going to try and continue for a little bit more, but I'm going to have to take a long break to feed all the animals anyways. Um, and my back could use a break. This painting isn't quite finished, but it's getting close. I definitely am going to finish it today. Um, so yeah, I'll definitely have this done. Well, definitely, maybe not, but most likely I'll have this done by tonight. Um, which is good because I'm planning on turning this painting into a video. So videos are on my are I say this, but I really mean this. I'm going to have some speed paint videos coming out soon. Hopefully, the plan is before the end of the year. Not sure I'll get it out before Thanksgiving because, Thanksgiving is next week, but we'll see. Uh, Samaj says, thanks for sharing him with us. Great to see another orange kitty. Yeah. Enjoy your evening. Great meeting you. Excellent. And where do you sell your artwork? I sell my artwork on my website, which is liad.com. I know it's just straight up my name.com. But yeah, I sell it online. Um, if the prices are, too high, I can do, what's it called? Um, Payment plans for anybody. And also, um, there might be some, what's it called? Um, some stuff coming up soon that will be a little more affordable, at least for a while. We'll see. I have some plans on things, so but what I do have currently is up there. Almost everything I have currently is up there. Yeah. But yeah, what was I going to say? Thank you so much for stopping by, Princess Ak and Samaj. Thank you both for hanging out with me. Arctechie, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Don Lee as well, and of course, Des. And yeah, like I said, if you're into Discord, join the Discord. There's no like fee or payment or anything there. It's just hang out. If you want. It's also a great way to participate in events when I do have them. And yeah, I will be back. Oh shoot, Thursday is Thanksgiving. Ooh, usually for the last like couple months, my stream schedule was Thursday and Sunday. Let me think about that. I will post about when my stream will be this week. Um, yeah, I have to think about it. I'll post about that in the next day or two. Um, yeah. Sunday, yes. Thursday, probably I will probably do it on a different day, I think. not sure. I don't know. I have to figure out what people do for Thanksgiving. Anyways, yeah, thanks so much for stopping by, and see you around. I hope everyone has a great rest of your weekend.